Lately, I've been playing a lot of roguelikes, and I mean a lot. Unlike other games where you just kind of play them and beat them once, and then you just sit back in your chair and think, well, that was fun. Alright, well, back to Valorant. Roguelikes aren't designed in that way. They're meant to hook you and never let go, like Binding of Isaac. You beat the game once, only to realize that you've only beaten 1% of the game. But this is how roguelikes are meant to be. It's supposed to be repetitive. You're supposed to beat the game multiple times. You're supposed to die multiple times. You're supposed to cry and then quit multiple times. But then, you always come back for that sweet, delicious RNG. Because of RNG, we get different runs like procedurally generated levels in Isaac, or random items in Risk of Rain 2, or random encounters in Slay the Spire. All these roguelikes have this sort of randomness to them. You're always curious because the game could throw anything at you. And to make roguelikes even spicier, there's another mechanic called permadeath, meaning you don't come back, ever. And by never coming back, I just mean you're sent to the main menu where you can just press play again. Which is kind of like real life, you know, when everything's fading to black and then all you see is this weird pop-up. And something so unique about these games that I love is you'll never really experience the same run twice. Sure, you can get the same item or same upgrade, or you'll even see the same boss, but you'll never truly have one run be identical to another run. Which means you have to use the knowledge and the skills you've obtained and adapt to what the game gives you. But this is pretty cool because you get to experiment and see what works and see what doesn't work. And this leads to something called synergizing, which means you've found at least 2 items that work very well together. You know, it's kind of like Subway. You know, you go to the front and you build your own sandwich and, you know, ham and cheese synergize very well. Or maybe you go for a crazy build and just get everything on it. The choice is yours. But what if we took this concept without the killing and the offense and defense strategy? What if we just wanted to play something simple like poker? What if we just play a game called Balatro? Balatro? Balatro?
Balatro!
That can't be right. Hold on. How to pronounce Balatro? Good one, Thunk. One of the things that makes Balatro so unique is that the fact that it doesn't need any enemies in the game. You don't have to kill anything. All you simply do is just make a poker hand and watch it score points. And yeah, you might think, well, that's stupid.
I want to kill stuff. I want to shoot and shoot.
Well, hold on there, buckaroo. I haven't even explained what makes this game a roguelike. You see, in Balatro, we use these little guys called jokers. And the whole entire game revolves around these guys. And this one's called Jimbo. Jimbo's your most standard joker. He's a good representation of how jokers work. Jimbo here adds +4 mult to your hand. So for instance, when you throw up a 2-pair, you'll see it score your points here, and then Jimbo here will add the +4 mult. And once your hand scores those points, you're basically trying to beat this score right here. But again, you might say this is boring, right? It's just one joker. What if I told you there's over 100 of these guys? And you can make some freaking crazy synergies, let me tell you. You got these little guys right here, oh man, look at them go. And why stop there? Why not alter and change your cards to make them stronger? Get them all gold to get rich, or put a red seal on them to trigger them twice. Let's go even further beyond. Let's use those planet cards to strengthen the combo points on our hands. And we're not even stopping there, we're going all the way to the moon, baby. Let's... Sorry, I got a little excited. But you can see how Balatro, to its core, is just a simple fun game. Even if there wasn't such a huge collection of jokers, or ways to alter your deck. Balatro's core gameplay loop is what makes the game unique to begin with. And sometimes making the game more simple allows the game to have much more depth. Rather than a game being complex right from the start, if you're trying to add more content to it, it can make the game a little more frustrating and confusing. Another game that uses its simple design to its advantage is a game called Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors is just a bullet hell roguelike where you just stand there and you kill stuff. This game takes no skill at all. And yet this game has over 200,000 reviews and the overwhelmingly positive. So when you take a game with a great gameplay loop and add even more content to it, you're gonna have a great game like this. So again, give Balatro some credit here. It was only made by one guy. And another thing that this game does so well is how easy you can pick up on what the game is trying to tell you what it is. And what I mean by this is every game has something called a learning curve. See, in some games it might take you a whole hour just to learn how to play the game. But in other games, it might just take 5 minutes to learn how to play. And this is something that a lot of genres struggle with. And it is the game's responsibility to teach you how to play. But sometimes, some games don't teach you how to play at all. Some games make you learn with brute force, like knocking your head against a wall again and again and again. A perfect example of this is, again, Binding of Isaac. When you first boot up Binding of Isaac, you're thrown into the game with almost no context. You don't know how much health enemies have, you don't know the boss's moves, and the most important thing is you don't even know what items do until after you pick them up. And unfortunately, the only way to learn from these types of games is just from repetition and making mistakes. Except Isaac is just a little more unforgiving.
Speed down.
But Balatro is a little different. It allows you to learn before you make the mistake. Hence, when you hover over a joker in a shop, it'll tell you what it does before you even buy it, allowing you to make the decision, is this gonna help my build or is this gonna ruin my build? And even if it does, you still have the option to sell the joker later on in the run, making Balatro a lot more forgiving. And a reason this game can be so forgiving is because of how many opportunities it will present to you. When you enter the shop, you have a whole display of things you can buy, and you even have a choice to re-roll some of the items. And let's say you didn't find anything you wanted. Well, it's not a big deal because you'll be coming right back in the next round. And the mechanic I just explained is Balatro's simple gameplay loop, strategizing to buy your jokers, altering and upgrading your deck to pretty much exactly how you want it to be. And of course, when you finally got that build rolling, you can just sit back and watch your jokers do the dirty work. Now, I know Balatro isn't tagged as an auto battler, but I've always kind of seen it as a strategy card like and an auto battler. A mix between something like Slay the Spire, where you strategize and use your attack and defense cards, and also something like Super Auto Pets, where you just buy and upgrade your pets and then watch them battle. And in its own way, Balatro kind of created its own genre. I'm not saying it was the first game to do this, but I am saying this was the first game to make the genre more known. This sort of battle high score system where you're not really attacking an enemy, you're attacking a high score. And now you're finally starting to see other games follow this trend. Which of course is how you know a game is good, when you have other games mimicking that same style. But sometimes these great games don't get discovered so easily, like when I first started playing Inscription, which is just like a card-like creature battle game. And it's very story driven, so I won't spoil anything here. But my first 2 hours in this game, I hated it. I couldn't understand what it was trying to be. I thought the battle system was too simple. I thought the hook of the game just wasn't that appealing to me. But then something happened. Something that no other genre is capable of doing. I experienced what everyone has experienced at some time in their life while playing a roguelike, the God Run, where everything in your run just goes exactly how you want it to. When you get the best item in the game, and you start to realize how all these items can synergize together. And then the best part, you destroy that final boss with your OP mega build. And it's at this point you realize that this is only the beginning, because those 10 hours will turn into hundreds of hours. And in Balatro, it feels so good when you get a God Run, because you were the one that created it. No one forced you to buy that joker. You bought that joker. You realize that Blueprint is probably the best joker in the game, because it can do anything. Multiply your mult, give you money, and it even does your laundry. Make sure you get my underwear too. And now I have this sort of expectations when I look for another game. When I scroll on the Steam store to look for my next game, now I'm just gonna be thinking, yeah, this looks fun, but is it gonna give me the joy that I experienced in Balatro? Is it gonna give me that addiction and that hook? Or is it just gonna be another game collecting dust in my Steam library? Look, I'm not trying to bash on any other games. I know a lot of hard work and effort goes into making these games. But you know how you watch a really good TV show, and then once you finish it, you're just sitting there back in your chair and think, well, that was fun. Alright, well, back to Valorant. Except I may not have to ever worry about that, because Balatro, just like other roguelikes, has a whole collection of achievements for you to complete, making roguelikes take a while to finish. But even though I don't really like poker, Balatro has really shown me it doesn't matter what you merge the roguelike genre with. It could be football, or slots, or even this crawl machine thing. If it has a good execution on the gameplay loop, then the game will always have potential. And Balatro just seemed to do everything right. The gameplay, the synergy, the art style, and the music. By the way, this game only has one song in it. I mean, it has some slightly different variations, but it's still the same song. Anyway, with that said, it's just very satisfying to see a game like this get the attention it deserves. And of course, earn its right to hang out with the big boys at the top. And by the way, if you're still here watching this video and you haven't played Balatro, What are you doing? Go play it. Go right now. You can subscribe first and then go play it. Alright, well that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. So thanks for watching and bye bye.